Frieren is over 1,000 years old. She's lived longer than entire civilizations. She has infinite time to do anything, experience everything, learn whatever she wants. And somehow, her life feels shorter than the humans who live barely 80 years. This is the Frieren philosophy, a paradox so profound it changes how you think about time, meaning, and what it actually means to be alive. Because what if having more time makes each moment worth less? What if immortality is the ultimate poverty, not wealth? If this kind of deep dive into anime philosophy interests you, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a like. It really helps the channel grow. And I'm curious, what's your take on how mortality shapes meaning? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one. Frieren spent 10 years with the hero's party. A decade of adventure, friendship, saving the world. For Himmel, that was a significant portion of his life. Maybe 15% of his entire existence. For Frieren, it was 1% of her life so far. Less than 1%. A blip. A moment. Nothing. So when Himmel dies and Frieren realizes she barely knew him, it's not because she didn't spend time with him. It's because that time meant fundamentally different things to them. This is the core paradox. The more time you have, the less each moment matters. The longer you live, the shorter each experience feels. There's actual psychology backing this. As you age, time feels like it passes faster. Why? Because each year represents a smaller percentage of your total life experience. When you're 10, 1 year is 10% of your entire life. Huge. When you're 50, 1 year is 2%. Much smaller. The same amount of time feels shorter because it's proportionally less significant. Now extend this to Frieren's time scale. A decade is nothing. A human lifetime is barely noticeable. She can blink and miss entire generations. This isn't just about perception, it's about meaning. When time is infinite, individual moments lose weight. When you can always do something later, nothing feels urgent. Frieren had decades to get to know Himmel better, but she didn't because she had time. She could always do it later. Except Himmel didn't have time, and later never came. This is the cruelest aspect of immortality. You have infinite time, which means you never feel urgency to do things now. You procrastinate forever because forever is actually available. Humans don't have this luxury. We know time is limited, so we act with urgency. We say, "I love you now," because there might not be a later. Frieren had no such pressure, until it was too late. Frieren constantly uses mere 10 years, mere 50 years, mere human lifetime. To her, these spans are insignificant. But this reveals the tragedy. She's measuring human experiences by immortal standards. She's devaluing moments because they're short in her timeline, not recognizing that for humans, those moments are everything. Frieren's mere 10 years was Himmel's prime. Her mere moment was his lifetime. She was measuring his life by her scale and finding it insignificant, not realizing that significance isn't about duration, it's about meaning. Frieren forces Frieren to acknowledge human timescales. When Frieren suggests something will only take 10 years, Frieren points out that's a huge portion of her life. Frieren learns that time's value isn't objective, it's relative. What seems like nothing to her is everything to someone else. Through Frieren starts understanding. Living longer doesn't mean experiencing more, it means experiencing less intensely. Having more time makes each moment matter less. Humans with 80-year lifespans experience more life than Frieren with her 1,000 years. Not more time, more life. Because humans, knowing they're mortal, pack meaning into moments. Every goodbye might be the last. Every experience might not come again. This urgency creates intensity. It forces presence. It makes moments matter because they're finite. Frieren has no such urgency. She can revisit places, make new friends, get infinite chances to get things right, except that abundance makes each thing less precious. When you can always do something again, doing it now doesn't feel special. Frieren collects useless spells, magic that creates flowers, makes things taste better, silly party tricks, spells with no practical combat value. Himmel loved these spells. He thought they were wonderful. Frieren collected them because Himmel liked them, but didn't understand why he cared. Now she understands. These useless spells are precisely what makes life worth living. They're the moments that have no practical value but infinite emotional value. The useful spells are tools. The useless spells are meaning. Himmel understood that life isn't about efficiency. It's about the beautiful, pointless moments that don't serve any purpose except joy. Frieren, with infinite time, focused on useful things. Himmel, with limited time, focused on meaningful things. He lived more in 80 years than she did in 1,000. Immortality isn't living forever. It's watching everything end while you continue. Frieren doesn't get to keep her friendships. She gets to watch them die. She doesn't get infinite experiences. She gets to experience loss infinitely. Every relationship has an expiration date. Every connection will end. Every person she cares about will eventually leave her alone. This is why immortals in fiction are often cold or detached. It's a defense mechanism. Caring hurts when everyone you care about dies. Detachment is survival. Frieren tried this. She was detached during the hero's journey. She didn't invest emotionally because she knew it was temporary for her. And this made her miss the entire point of those 10 years. Frieren's journey after Himmel's death is learning to live at human pace, to feel urgency despite having infinite time, to make moments matter even though she'll have infinite moments. This is the philosophy. The quality of life isn't measured by duration, but by presence, by how fully you inhabit each moment, by how much meaning you extract from finite experiences. Humans are forced into this by mortality. Frieren has to choose it consciously despite immortality. And this is the lesson for us. We also need to choose it. Because even with our limited time, we often live like we're immortal, procrastinating, taking people for granted, assuming there will always be more time. We have the urgency of mortality, but often don't use it. We waste our precious, limited time acting like it's infinite. The Frieren philosophy is this: living longer makes life shorter because abundance devalues experience. When you have infinite time, individual moments lose significance. When you can always do something later, nothing feels urgent now. Humans live short lives but experience them intensely because we know they're finite. Frieren lives forever, but experiences it shallowly because nothing feels precious when it's always available. This is the cruelest paradox of immortality. You get infinite time, but each moment matters less. You get to live forever, but you lose the urgency that makes living meaningful. Himmel lived more in 80 years than Frieren in 1,000 because he knew his time was limited. Every moment with friends was precious because there were finite moments. Every adventure mattered because there were finite adventures. Frieren had infinite chances to get to know him and wasted them all because mere 10 years meant nothing to her scale. But now she understands. The value of time isn't in its quantity, but in its quality. And quality comes from scarcity, from presence, from urgency. So what's the lesson for us mortals? We already have what Frieren is learning to create: natural urgency from limited time. The question is whether we're using it. Are you living like you have infinite time? Procrastinating important conversations? Assuming people will always be there? Taking moments for granted? Or are you living with the urgency your mortality should create? Making moments matter, being present, recognizing that this might not come again? Frieren is learning to live like she's mortal despite being immortal. Maybe we should learn to live like we're mortal because we actually are. Your life is short. Paradoxically, that's what makes it long, what fills it with meaning. What makes each moment precious is that there aren't infinite moments. So stop living like you're immortal. Stop procrastinating presence. Stop taking people for granted because you assume they'll always be there. Live like Himmel, knowing time is limited, making moments matter, collecting useless experiences that serve no purpose except joy. Because in the end, the length of life doesn't matter. What matters is how fully you lived it. And living fully requires recognizing it will end. That's the Frieren philosophy. Immortality makes life shorter. Mortality makes it longer, not in duration, but in depth, not in time, but in meaning. So live before it's too late. Because unlike Frieren, you don't get to realize this mistake and still have centuries to correct it. You get now, that's all. And that's enough, if you make it enough.